Good evening, sim racing fans. Welcome back to season 2 of Sim Racing World TV, where tonight we bring you our first season of NASCAR Oval Trucks. This is going to be an absolute blast of a race tonight, something new to the channel, and with a pack of 30 races, we are going to have some awesome NASCAR footage to bring you tonight. Excuse my voice. I am still recovering from a bit of a cough and tickle in the throat, but let's hope that doesn't overtake my beautiful commentating voice tonight. So tonight,
beautiful commentating voice. Who told you that? They've been lying to you.
Mate, that's why they get me doing these gigs. You see.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you around, Nathan, as well. Like it's an honour. When Steven Sinkovich came to me and said, "Hey, we're thinking about running an Oval League," I thought, "Oh yeah, we're going to get 15 cars in the track. It's going to be a great series. You know, 15 cars is going to be fantastic." Well, we've got more than double that, and I want to say a big shout out to everyone that is a part of the racing here tonight, is a part of the Sim Racing World TV, and it's my absolute honour to crack the champagne over the start of season, what are we, season 5, season 6?
Season 2.
Something along. Season 2, there you go.
Season 2 is SRW.
Yeah, there we go. Mate, we get to crack it off with stock cars from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Are you kidding me? Mate, take a look at the aerial shots on the track. I think if there was a race on with this number of cars and this level of cars, that car park would be a bit more full, don't you, Nathan?
Yeah, it looks like a few guys have run their practice runs and they're sitting in the pits now. That's definitely not the 30 people sitting out there, that's for sure.
Mate, so look, oval racing, it's brand new to these guys. This is my bread and butter, though. This is what I started iRacing to do, was to join ovals, have a bit of fun with some mates, and then I'd do some circuit stuff on the side. Well, welcome to my world. There's left turns around here. Charlotte's has what we call a quad oval, and I believe you actually might be staring at the reason for the quad oval right in front of you. See how either side of those monster logos down on the track surface, there's 2 kinks in that front stretch? That means it's a quad oval. A tri-oval, like you'll see when we go to Daytona later on in the season, it has 1 kink in the front stretch. 2 corners. Well, NASCAR guys, they kind of can't count, so they count them as 1 and 2 down at the right-hand end of the track, 3 and 4 hidden by our timing tower on the left-hand end of the track. So there's 4 turns effectively on the track, plus the quad oval. Pit stops, tyres, NASCAR racing, pack racing. Are you ready for something new, Nathan?
Oh, mate, I am excited. I have delved into a little bit of this myself through the rookie leagues in iRacing, and I tell you what, I think I'm hooked.
Mate, so for those guys who aren't aware, ovals, big, heavy stock cars, pack racing. It's very difficult for these guys to run away from each other. It's all about drafting. It's all about tyre conservation. Have you seen the tyres on these things? They're big, they're fat, they heat up. They don't steer all that well after the first couple of laps. That's important. These guys, the race is going to be not just against themselves. It's not going to be just against the other drivers. It's against their tyres. They've got to look after them. Those tyres, ultimately, have got to last them generally a full green flag fuel run. Pit stops tonight, that's crucial. 35 laps-ish is going to be about your fuel margin. Can you stretch that to 38 laps? Get a one-stop race in. And now, most importantly, time for qualifying. Can you get your qualifying lap in? Nathan, I mean, again, you're the rookie to this. This is my bread and butter. There's going to be 2 ways that you can do qualifying. It's all about tyre temperature. Are your tyres too cold? Are your tyres perfect? Are they too warm? Lap number 1 of qualifying, there's 2 ways to attack it. You can go out there, you can run your first lap as a momentum builder. Or, alternatively, you can go after your fastest lap there. You might lose a 10th in terms of overall lap time. You won't quite have maximum momentum when you get all the way up to speed off of turn 4. You can go just a fraction faster. But by the time you get back for lap number 2, your tyres have just fractionally gone off here. Watch Lachlan Capel. He's running a high line here. This is maximum distance. Why? It takes time. It takes distance to get the car up to speed. If he's down on the low line, this lap is slower than what it potentially can be. See if he wants to attack it, though, on this first lap. So he's looking to run his fastest lap on the first lap with that line. He didn't quite get all the way to the bottom, so he hasn't quite nailed it. Now, additionally, because he's running the shortest way around the track, that says to me he's looking for a fast lap time. We'll see how he takes 3 and 4. Gets all the way to the bottom. So again, this is a look at a fast lap here from Capel. This means he will set a faster lap now, but the guys who set their lap on their second lap are going to be fractionally faster, potentially, if they haven't cooked their tyres. It is an absolute heater from Capel with a 31.97. See if he can improve now. All the way up to that fence. It's about getting the car to the bottom of the track. He's got to get it all the way to that bottom line. He hasn't quite. He's missed it. He's missed it, Capel. And you know, this lap's not going to be better. Yeah, he's bailed out. He realizes he's down on that second lap, so he's pulled out. That's it. Qualifying done for Capel. But that betters the laps that were done in practice. The fastest lap was by Miles Burgess in practice of 30.242. Capel's gone quicker with a 1.9 second. He might have been sandbagging in practice. The other quick guy here that we've got to keep our eyes out here for, Nathan, is actually Brad Clank. He hasn't started his laps yet. He's about to fire off from pit lane. He was absolutely banging down the door of Miles Burgess in terms of trying to set that fast lap in practice. He was right there too. Nothing in it. Burgess has already done his qualifying lap. He's only put in a 32.53. That's 11 thousandths of a second slower, and that could be the difference if Clank can get it all settled down and all sorted. So we'll have a look at the line that Clank wants to run here. Again, Clank, this is a mistake. You don't want to be running the bottom lane here, coming off of turn 4 for your first lap. That's missed momentum that he's going to have. That's where the missing time's gone for Brad Clank. It's going to be a quick lap, don't get it wrong, for the Send It Sim Sports driver of the number 576, but he's got the skill. I just think he's missed a trick there. You learning anything so far, Nathan?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. I've learned that you know a lot about oval racing. I think that's number one so far. And I'm just trying to soak it all in while also, you know, keeping an eye on, you know, making sure we get those beautiful camera views. So I'm sure as the night goes on, mate, and the racing gets heated, I'll pipe up a little more. But yeah, so it seems like there's not much time. So far, everybody's like 30s. They're all in the 30s within 0.2, 0.3 off each other of these qualifying laps. So man, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see just like a train of drafting happen around these corners.
So I can tell you, Jake Edwards actually did a really, really good lap in practice, but I think that might have been assisted a little bit with a little bit of draft. So there's a few things to look at in comparison for some of these drivers, their qualifying laps and their practice laps. During practice, there were other cars out there on the track. And well, you guys would have watched Formula One. You guys would have seen IndyCar, V8 supercars. They're all about draft. Something else we're going to get into as this series unfolds as well, something called side draft, which is all about creating an aero parachute over the rear bumper of these cars. So there's a few things that we need to discuss technically for these drivers. But one of the biggest things is when you're out there in practice and I'm trying to do a qualifying lap, I want to get away from everyone else. I want to set an aero-free lap. I don't want to get any benefit because that gives me a banker. I can say, yeah, I'm up. Yeah, I'm down. Where can I potentially gain? And then I'll go and have a look at a couple other guys' laps. Oh, he's getting lower here in turn number 1. Oh, this guy actually did a momentum lap in his first lap. That's where all the time was. Now, I said that I think that maybe the momentum lap was a thing. Capel's got to the top of the board without doing that. And I think the difference between Clank and Capel is just coming through turn 3 and turn 4 on that out lap. Ran the wall. Again, longer distance. It's tricky to run up there. At Charlotte, it's very tricky to run the wall the entire way around the track because it actually pinches. The track gets very narrow off of turn 4. So that's something to keep your eye out for. Something that these drivers are going to be dealing with all night long is as the runs go on, the front right tire gets really, really hot. When your front right tire gets really, really hot, doesn't turn quite so well. So what you're going to see is what we call fall off or lap time fall off, tire fall off. Everyone within a Formula One world, a V8 supercar world, they're going to say deg, tire deg. Or within a NASCAR world, fall off. It's lap time fall off. How much is the lap time sort of drifted away? So something to note is have a look at your second lap for these guys. Not the first lap. The first lap, they're still getting up to momentum. The second lap on fresh tires is where the fastest laps of the race are going to be set. And how that's basically going to work is after that, the tires are just too hot. They've lost that perfect grip level. They're a little bit, they're not quite there from there on. So even though the guys will be bumper to bumper, door to door, it's going to be quite difficult. Additionally, aero, the lead car, he's got access to all of his aero devices working perfectly. No one else in the field has that benefit. So what that tends to do is put more weight again on that front right. So what you tend to happen at Charlotte and similar styles of tracks is that the leader in second place will be able to hang on for say 5 laps, and then after that the leader will just sort of get away with it. Nothing you can really do. But it's going to be all about setting it up. If I'm the lead car here, I want to defend from the high line. What do I mean by defend from the high line? Well, there's 2 ways around the track. We've already talked about that in terms of qualifying outlook. The bottom line of the track, yeah, it's the shortest way around the track. Absolutely, shortest lap time. However, there's a lot of straights here, and that means you need momentum. And for you to get the momentum, you've got to keep momentum, which means you want to back off less. Well, you can keep more momentum on the high line. The other reason to go to the high line, it actually takes a lot of tire temperature to get all the way to the bottom of the track. You've got to really wheel the car around. And that puts more stress through that front right tire. So you basically got like a lap to get the move done. Because after that, the guy on the outside's tires is just going to be much better. Additionally, if you don't get it done in the first corner that you send it down there, or the second corner after you get it down on the inside line, the guy on the outside's then got the momentum back. You've lost all that momentum trying to get to his low side. So if I'm a car here tonight, I'm defending from the top.
Looks like, mate, that everybody's run a couple of laps and then that's it. Qualifying's over. I think they're quite happy with their qualifying laps, buddy. Oh, we've still got Callan out there, actually. We've got one out there. Spoke too soon.
He's just finished his qualifying attempt, so we left a loo break in for these drivers at the end of qualifying.
Ah, okay.
75 laps is a long time in the car, and it only gets longer when there's cautions.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially since our first season of NASCAR oval tracks. Like, I do believe that some of these guys have actually driven, on the oval tracks before, but we definitely do have a few out there that have sort of jumped in for a bit of fun and to give out the oval trucks a good run for our first season of them.
I think it's critical as well to talk about teams. Now, Charlotte, teams, they're not really going to play a huge factor into it. It's going to come down to just the individual driver's skill. But what you can do is, if you've got more than one driver in a team, is that they can jump across. They can, say, oh, look, I'm going to come down pit lane a little bit early. I'm going to try fresher tires. I'll see how I can hang on to them. I'll see how I can get through. If you've got to drive a little bit further up the field, doesn't want to come early for tires, having those teammates, it's quite critical, because they can say, yeah, look, I come in and I made 10 spots in 2 or 3 laps, and I was able to hang on to my tires from there. I just kept driving through, guys. So it's worth it. The next caution you get, come down pit lane, come take some tires. Then you'll have guys that'll want a draft pack to stay together. Why? It's faster to work together. You're pushing less air out of the way. So teammates, if they're quite close, quite together with each other on track, you'll see that. You'll see undercuts. You'll see guys that'll go for the overcut, because remember, that tire deg, it's so important to your race strategy here. So let's talk about the teams. We've got 3 drivers entered from the After Dark Sim Racing team. No, Alex Court, he's taking a break from this one. He's going to be back for the Porsche Cup. I believe he's in with the Radicals as well, and he's going to be, again, back for the V8 Supercars. So big name to see later on in the week. Crisscross Racing, Adam Hughes, Jake Edwards, Miles Burgess. 3 good names there. I was having a chat to Adam through the week. He's not quite sure. This is your Porsche Cup champion. He's out of water. He's a big fish out of water. He knows how to drive a car. He doesn't apparently know how to drive a car that only turns left. So big question mark over him. Fishy Motorsports, Blake Delaney and Peter Morris. You always see a big contingency from the Fishy Motorsports guys. Oval's a little bit outside of their wheelhouse. That's why you don't see as many of those guys. Locked On Lads, they're the black sheep. That's what their team name is anyway. Jeremy Bush and Leon Williams sitting on the other Locked On Lads team. You've got Braden Martin and John McHenry. Moving on to Man Up Sim Racing, Chris Thornton, Rick Jones on blue, Ash Halliday, Nathan Alley going to be Man Up Sim Racing silver. I know Nathan was absolutely cracking on. He's been keen for this series for a long, long time. All the Man Up Sim Racing guys and the Velocity Sim Labs, they're all working together. And they've been kicking for this series for a very long time. 2 privateers, Gary Redcliffe and George Minas. Then you move on to our pole sitters team, Lachlan Capel and Grant Matterford out of Pulse Racing team. Again, guys that have worked together for a long, long period of time. Lachlan Capel turns a lot of laps on ovals. Very strong driver that hasn't had a lot of success come his way in the oval department of things yet. I'm looking for a very strong season out of him. Riot Sim Racing, Hayden Norris, Jacob Hughes, Matthew Scholes. These guys, a little bit new to the league. This is the first I've seen of these guys. Don't have a lot to go on here. So I've got a lot of question marks over these guys. I want to see where they go. Burgess not Burgess. Hayden Norris, Jacob Hughes, Matthew Scholes. Where was Scholes? Okay, so these guys are actually a lot further down the list, I thought. I was expecting to see these guys a little bit higher up, maybe, but you'll see them come on strong. I believe they're quite good in terms of looking after their tyres, so that's something to keep in the back of your mind. 35 cars to go through, so there's a long list of drivers and teams. Send it Sim Sports, Brad Clank. Watch Brad Clank like a hawk. This guy knows how to drive. This guy has been driving for a very, very long time. I used to drive on a team with him. I know he's got talent. Had a running in together with him a couple days ago in an official race, so there's a little bit of work that I want to see from him there. He's not quite as good in the long run. Will burn up a few tyres, something to keep in the back of your mind. And then finally, Velocity Sim Lab Racing guys. Big group of these guys working with the Men Up Sim Racing. You've got Darren Parmenter, Dylan DeBono, Paul Bryan, Riley Jones, Barry Hodges, and Evan Horswell. And then finally, you've got Darren Fahey, Callan Hodgkinson, and Daniel Harris. 3 guys without a team at this stage.
All right, we're just about.
That's a list.
It is a big list, mate. There's a lot of drivers that we've got in here tonight, so it's great to see how many cars.
So this will be interesting for the drivers here as well. They're parked at an angle on the grid. The back of the field hasn't pulled away yet.
I think some people are a bit new to a rolling start. Or gridding off the side there like that. They also haven't realised they've got to stay behind the pace car.
Well, see, Lachlan Capel's one of our race controllers. He's driven the Sim Racing World pace car before. Maybe he's practising his pacing skills.
Just practising, trying to see if he can stick with the pace car.
Okay, Taylor Field's just now pulling away from the start-finish line. So, couple things tonight. First race of these guys together. First race together on the track. First race for all of these guys. What does that mean? Mistakes are plenty. Keep your car clean. Look after it. You know, look after the guys that are around you. And remember, guys are going to make mistakes. I reckon we're going to see a caution-filled race here tonight, Nathan.
Oh, mate, look, who doesn't love a bit of oval racing for the carnage, right? Like, isn't that why people watch this?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say the NASCAR phrase, boogity, boogity, boogie, boys, time to go racing! Capel with a huge launch off the line, so leader gets control of the pack and leader gets control of when to go. He's gone very early. He's gone all the way up to the top lane here. He doesn't want to offer drafting support to the car that's immediately behind him and on the bottom side of the track. So that's what you're looking for here from Capel. Keep your eyes for the guys that are immediately behind him. Glenn McLeod started off at P2, but it's Brad Clank that's taken it away early. Looking a little bit back in the pack, you've got Burgess there side by side with, I believe that's Clank just ahead of him and Glenn McLeod just to his outsides. This is tough. He's pinned on the bottom line. He doesn't want to be down there. Look at the line that Brad Clank's taking. All about momentum, all about looking after the tyres. Clank is lifted massively there. He wants to save tyres. He wants to save maybe a little bit of fuel. And have a look at Capel. Capel's just done a nut and bolt. He's half a second clear. Having a look back through the pack, there's quite a few drivers you'll see on screen here. The 22 deep in the pack, I believe that's fourth position actually. That's Daniel Harris in P5. The 20 immediately behind him, Hayden Norris gets a little bit what they call tight or understeery on the bottom of the track, pushes up, maintains his momentum. He was clear on the outside, so the lane was free for him to do so. He had to lift out the throttle to do that, and that's cost him a lot of right front tyre. So he cannot afford to do that all night long. The car immediately in behind them, Daniel Weaver, the 186. Look at him, able to rotate the car nice and clean and get to the bottom. Harris now still to the inside. He's got no drafting support down here, but again, shortest way around the track. That's what it's all about. Look at him send it 1.5 miles up the inside here. Glenn McLeod's going backwards. Is this a tyre saving strategy? What are your thoughts, Nathan?
Oh, mate, totally new to this, so I'm going off your expertise here and just trying to enjoy a good race and learn what I can along the way. But so far, mate, they are packed up across the field here. So we got some nice close racing to go over the next 73 laps.
So I can tell you, one driver's fallen 1.5 miles off the rear end of the field. That's Gary Redcliffe. So something happened to him on those opening couple laps. Not quite sure what that one was, but he's now lost all drafting support. We've had a caution thrown for an incident in turn number 1 and 2. So it's a long way down, and it's something to do with Adam Hughes. I just heard Adam Hughes on the radio saying he's got an issue. He's going to need to come in. He's going to have to burn his fast repair. So 2 fast repairs for the drivers here tonight, and this is their first caution of the season as well. Couple things to talk about in terms of cautions. We don't have any drivers off the lead lap, so we're going to not have a lucky dog rule at this point in time. So that'll be critical. Drivers that are on the lead lap, now with the pace car caught, they will be able to pit this time by, come down for a splash of fuel, tyres under caution. You can, once you get onto pit road, you can actually pass cars. So no automatic pit lane limiter in these cars. iRacing allows you to run an iRacing automatic pit lane limiter, but it's fractionally slower than the pit lane speed limit. So if you're good enough on the tyre control, have a look at the dicing up at the front. Jump back to the front, go back about 5 or 10 seconds. You'll see an interesting move from Lachlan Capel. This is something you'll see all season long. It's the pit lane strategy. It's the battle. Do I come to pit lane? Do I not? He's done what we call a fake. He's thrown the dummy here. He's driven the car down towards the pit lane entry, and then he's run back up the track at the last possible moment. A few guys would have committed to coming down pit lane there, and well, he's sold them the dummy. They didn't. A few guys were thinking about it, but it was very, very close. So a lot of things to sort of consider at this early stage. You don't happen to have a replay of what went on there, Nathan? I'm actually curious about that.
I honestly am trying to find some replays, but yeah, there's so much going on because of all the people passing Adam Hughes in the pits that this is just, it's literally just covered everything else. Yeah, I can't get back to anything.
6 Adam Hughes. Right, so cautions. These laps all count. I'm just having a quick look at Gary Redcliffe. There's a lot of scraping on the left-hand side of his car. I think we've had our first penalty of the night. And it's gone the way of, I think it's Nathan Allen. I think he may have gotten an end-of-line penalty here. So what that means is, effectively, Nathan's done one of a few different things. He's potentially entered pit lane when it was closed, would have been open that time by. The drivers have a display in front of them on the sim that says pit lane open, pit lane closed. If you don't follow that, then you get an end of line penalty. So end of longest line. So it puts you to the back end of the longest line. And effectively the order that the penalty is applied. If you're the first guy to get an end of line penalty, you'll be the lead guy of all the guys that got penalties. And then it sort of goes on from there. So I would say that he's most likely sped on either entry to pit lane, hasn't got the car woed up to the pit lane speed limit quickly enough, or when he's accelerated out of his box, he's got above the pit lane speed limit, and that's where he's got the penalty. One of those two. Right, so rules for these guys. I'm just going to jump on. Just give me 2 moments. Reminder, guys, that you do need to tighten up to maximum of 2 car lengths between each car on entry to turn number 3. Maximum of 2 car lengths between the cars, entry to turn 3. Sorry, that's just come across the broadcast as well. I realised that was not well managed on my behalf.
All right, a bit of insight on what goes on behind the scenes.
So what that rule is doing, so basically you're setting the tone for how far apart the cars can be. If the cars sort of change speed, change direction really quickly, that's when you get a lot of checkups and come back together in terms of the pack. So it's trying to prevent that, instigate that rule. Capel once again has gone nice and early. So big lead, big set of clean hills here for Capel. See if he can run away with it this time like he did last time. I'm a little bit concerned for him because he did put a lot of stress on the tyres. You see Miles Burgess gets to the inside. Sorry, that's Daniel Harris who's in the inside of Miles Burgess, and Brad Clank's trying to split the middle of them. Burgess going to run the high line, loses a position away to Daniel Harris. Wonder if he's burned off a little bit too much rubber. He's to the inside now. Look at the background. You've got that 20 machine of Hayden Norris trying to send a move. Clink's right there, right on the bumper of Miles Burgess. There might have been a little bit of rubbing there, but they've managed to get away with it. Now Harris is trying to get a run. He's going to support Brad Clink down the straightaway here. What line does Daniel Harris come down? Does he come all the way to the bottom of the track? Does he offer that draft to Clink? Clink got a little bit of a run there. Now he gets up. Clink into the outside. Oh, that's taken 3 cars out. The whole field's involved in this one. They're all trying to grab their brakes. Brad Clink's missed the corner, and he's made contact with the car to his outside, and he will have to burn a fast repair. That's a huge impact car on its roof just ahead. That is a huge wreck that time by Shibby. That's a lot of cars involved in that one, and that means that Brad Clank is going to have to fight his way through from the rear end of the field.
Mate, that's what I came here to see. Is that little touch just off the wall, and then it just creates absolute chaos.
So what you need to do is actually go back about 5 seconds before the start of this clip. It's all set up off of the runoff of turn 2. He gets a huge boost of momentum. Why? There's a car in behind him. What that car is, even though that car's not directly in contact with him, there's a bubble of air that forms between his rear bumper and the car behind him. That pushes both those cars along at a faster speed than if there was only one car operating on its own. I get the feeling he's gone into this corner just a fraction too hot, wasn't quite aware of it, and there's a little bit of squabbling on the entry to pit lane as well, so that's Clank. It looks like he might have towed. Might not have been able to drive that one back to pit lane, and fast repair was unchecked, and that might be race done for Brad Clank.
That was a pretty brutal crash there, mate. Robert Griffo in the chat there saying, that's what we want. Welcome in, mate. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'll see if I can go back a little bit with that replay. And we'll kick it off about here. Yeah,
that's more than enough. So Brad Clink was actually a lot tighter in on the car. So he's trying to pinch the car up against the outside barrier. What happens then is that there's an air pocket between the two cars that sort of traps them together. So you get what they call aero tight or aero understeer. And it's actually not caused by a car running directly in front of you. It's caused by you just entering the corner a little bit too close to the other car. Your aero can't work properly. You've got no downforce on that front right tire. So, oh, there was a big hit at the back of the pack there just then. Under caution. That won't be looked highly upon by race control.
The back of the pack, was it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get a car number? I didn't...
Adam Hughes was involved.
Oh, really?
That I do know, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's got a bit of damage on the front of his car there. But, although, could that have been...
No, I saw it. He definitely got hit.
Nothing's come up in my event log, which is going to make that very hard to go back and find to see what happened.
Well, this is tricky now for Adam Hughes, because if this is his second fast repair of the night, he's got none left. So, effectively, if something goes wrong from here on out, he's stuck with it. Give me one moment, it's just got a request in race.
As you just heard there, guys, we've got 2 fast repairs, and then you're done, unless you can push your truck through the rest of the laps and get your car to the finish line. Robbie Griffo reckons they might need a few more fast repairs for the boys. Mate, with accidents like that, it's probably not a bad idea. Second caution flag of the night. Only 11 minutes in. Now there is one. Oh, going green again. Oh, we've got some banging, bumping in the back there.
So what's going on there is there was a few guys half.
Oh, where you going, Scotty?
So there's a fair bit going on there. Just give me 1 sec. I've just got to manage all the stuff that's going on in race.
So we're still under a yellow flag, even though the pace car has left the track. We should. Matty Skulls with that beautiful Anzac Day livery. Alright, we're caught back up to the pace car. Get the pack all bunched up again. Oh, someone's got off the track in the background. What has happened? Who was that? Evan Horswell has locked up his brakes to avoid incident. A few trucks out there have definitely still got a bit of damage showing. Looks like we might have a few trucks already out of the race. Possibility of 7 trucks already out. Have to wait and see as the pace car keeps going around to see if any guys come out of the pits. Just like to say a huge shout out to everybody out there for joining us for season 2 of Sim Racing World TV and joining us tonight for our first season of our NASCAR oval trucks. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Hopefully Scotty will be back with us soon and can fill us in with a few of the bit of information of what's been happening.
Yeah, apologies, guys. So just having some incidents in race. Obviously, you know, like I said, tonight there's going to be a few teething issues. This is the first round of a series. First round for a lot of these guys for driving in ovals. There's a lot of specific rules. A lot of specific rules to ovals that are kind of a little bit hard to wrap your head around if you don't know.
Well, mate, I definitely don't know, so I might need to actually go right ahead and study those rules a little bit so we can help keep the viewers also informed. I think what Scotty was saying, that even under caution, the laps still count.
They do. So at this stage in time, we're actually up to lap number 15 of 75.
Alright, we've had a few more guys join back onto the track. That's good to see. I was a little worried we'd already lost 7 cars there, but everybody is starting to pull out of the pits now and get back onto the track. What a great field for our first season. I got to say, 30 cars is phenomenal. Everybody is just about back on track. I have this thought though that Miles may have ended his race. Not 100% sure.
Yeah, so Miles has actually just left the server now, so his night's now done. Cable's still got control of the field here, still hasn't pitted, and we're back to green. Car to the outside. Daniel Harris gets a little bit of wheel spin on the initial start there, so he's going to go backwards, and once again it's Cable back in control of the field. Daniel Harris, Hayden Norris, Aaron Hayden, Matthew Scholes, Jeremy Bush, George Minus, John Nicolaf, and Gary Redcliffe. Top. You must serve that penalty. Okay, so NASCAR specific rules for these guys. We've had a couple of issues already tonight. One of the things that I was just talking to the drivers there about is the fact that these guys.
We have a great bunch forming here from 11th position to 16th position right now. Beautiful side-by-side action racing.
So just having a couple of issues here with penalties. So guys are getting penalties. So restarts. What happens when you start these cars? You can only overtake to the outside of the car that's ahead of you. So if you're in the inside lane, that means you've got to shoot the gap between the car that's directly ahead of you on the line and the car that's against the fence, which means you've got to send it through wide. If you're in the outside lane and there's no hole between the car that's ahead of you and the fence, you can't overtake. So if you guys weren't aware of that, did try and make some messages go out a couple times this week that said, hey, these are NASCAR rules. This is the restart. It's now on you guys. So if you guys are a little bit concerned, weren't quite aware of those rulings, they've now been made aware, unfortunately, to their own deficits. So, but yeah, that's a NASCAR specific rule. Once you pass the start-finish line, you can pass wherever you want, but you have to get to the start-finish line first. So big learning curve for a lot of these guys here tonight.
Not just them, but also myself, mate. So it's great to learn something new about racing, that's for sure.
It's a specific rule, and the whole thing when we started this league as well is I said we're going to have a bunch of guys who don't know these sorts of things. So I've tried to reach out, I've tried to speak to as many guys as I possibly could tonight. There's obviously a few guys that aren't in Discord that I couldn't really get in touch with. Unfortunately, you know, that's the price that you pay, and if you don't follow the instructions that are on the screen in front of you, you know, you're going to be compromised. So Lachlan Capel, if you keep your eyes up the front as well, something to keep your eyes on. Capel's tyres, he's just burnt them too much. He's starting to fall off a little bit. Cars are making moves on him left, right, and centre. He's already lost the rate lead to Hayden Norris. And now Daniel Harris is to his inside. Capel's going to try and hang it high, wide, and handsome all the way up against the fence. Aaron Hayden gets underneath him. Hayden's going to come surging on through. So Aaron Hayden, keep your eyes on him throughout the night. He's looked after his tyres like it's going out of fashion. Capel starting to fall like a rock. Hasn't quite gotten caught up to the guys that have already pit yet. Paul Bryan is the leader of the cars that pit under the recent caution. And now Lachlan Capel gets a little bit squirrely off the corner. He's going to get to the inside here of the 21 machine of Aaron Hayden and crosses him over. Gets it done before turn number one. Takes the high line on the entry to turn number one. Beautiful time to see the sunset. Over the entry to turn number one at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and have a look at the battle pack that started to form. Now you've got to keep your eyes on, and indeed it is John Nicolaf that's got Paul Bryan all over his rear bumper. Bryan, freshest tyres in the field, furthest ahead in the field, trying to make some moves. Gets a little bit of a run, doesn't quite get there yet. Now he's there. He'll get John on the inside going out on turn number one. Look at those fresh tyres now, surges through the entry to turn number one. Nicolaf, huge bit of momentum. This is where the momentum really comes in handy along the top. Slow car up against the fence. They're going to have to navigate their way around it. I think that might be Brad Klink. I've just seen coming around the top side there. So Clink still with a fast repair up his sleeve, I believe. But trundling around at quite a slow pace at this point in time. Now the green flag runs start to get their way together. Remember, tyres and fuel, about 35 laps is about the margin. So drivers, they get to lap 40, they can come in and make their final stop of the night. Oh, Brian gets a little bit of a nudge on the car. He's making the move there. So John Nikolaf now has the move thrown on him. The car's just ahead of them, trying to make some moves as well. Darren Fahey, I believe that is on the inside, trying to get the move done there, I believe, on Evan Horswell. So he's going to get that move done. He's going to grab himself another place. And another car immediately behind. I believe that's Nathan.
Evan Horswell, Nathan J. Allen.
No, it was Nathan Allen and David Horswell. So Aaron Horswell. Man, there's 35 cars out there. It's so hard to keep names together.
and we're new to all the races, of course. We've had a bit of time to look into who's in the series, of course, but mate, we're never going to get him first night off the bat, that's for sure.
Ooh, there's a car coming to pit lane at this point in time. He's going to be short. There is no way you make it to the end here. So he is committing to coming now. And it's Hayden Norris that's just made his way onto pit road. So he's either extremely low on fuel, or he's just said, I'm going to split this race into 3. I have to come. Now, the benefit is he's going to be on fresh tyres. But if we get a caution in 2 or 3 laps' time, race over. He's going to be trapped a lap down.
Oh, that's an interesting... Right. So he'll get pushed out of the position.
But he'll run faster.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he's giving up track position now because he has car speed. The 21 now comes to pit lane. That's Aaron Hayden. So either these guys are very low on fuel and they have to come to pit lane. Jeremy Bush got a poor run through. There's another car coming to pit lane. The pit window, it's open, and these guys are coming on in to top off on fuel. They'll take 4 tyres. You watch the pit lane time. A splash of full fuel tank here tonight is going to cost you about 8 seconds. A full set of tyres is going to be about 14 seconds of stationary time. You can do fuel and tyres at the same time. So if you're taking 4 tyres, most of these guys will be, it'll take him a 14-second pit stop. 6:05 of Matthew Skulls trying to get to pit lane. He got trapped on the high line there, didn't quite get it all the way down. The car leaves outside, all locked up, has got it loaded up. It will make it to pit lane. So it's about these guys pulling the cars down, slowing them down, and getting them pointed in the right direction. Capel, though, he's still going. Has he saved enough fuel, the wild thing?
We're going to find out, that's for sure, mate. Like, as you're saying with the pit lines, we've got a few 51 seconds, 50 seconds, 52 seconds. So these boys are losing a whole lap plus a half just in a pit stop.
Yep, and have a look at your lap times now as they start to trundle through as well. That's got to be critical. Something to keep your eyes on. Lachlan Capel, his qualifying time, a 30.197. He's just run a 30.187. So that is 1.5 seconds worth of tyre fall off. And now Capel said that he's coming to pit lane. Now, critically, he's going to give up a whole host of time in terms of track position. Why? All those other guys got fresh tyres and they've already got back out on that race circuit. So they've run quick laps for quite a number of laps. And I just had a look at his pit lane entry. It was sketchy. It was sketchy as anything. The guys that are further back now. So let's have a look at all the guys that pit in that lap 12 caution, that lap 16 caution. These guys are now your race leaders. Paul Bryan, Glenn McLeod, I believe, is P2. Braden Martin, P3. All of these guys, they've done a splash. They've got fresh tyres on. They can get home on one more stop. And you know, the worst part is that a caution doesn't favour all the guys that have already pitted. Capel got a penalty. Capel 100% got a penalty. He was speeding on pit lane. That's night over for Lachlan Capel.
Are these drive-through stop penalties in the NASCARs, and how long would they be for speeding in pits?
So a speeding in pit lane penalty with 40 seconds stationary.
Oh gosh,
an eternity stationary.
Yeah, there's a lap gone.
There's a lap gone. So that's 2 laps that Capel's going to be effectively down. His night, done. Put a line through it.
It's a tough one. I know when I've been doing some practice runs that pulling these up around that final corner into the pit lane can be a little sketchy. You've really got to be slowing down a lot earlier than you think. And I definitely accidentally put it into the pit wall a few times, just trying to slow the truck down.
Right, so pit lane cycle has now completed. The guys that have made their pit stops on the green flag positions, the leader of them, Aaron Hayden, came on lap 30. He's got another stop left to do. They've all got another stop left to do because they're all assisted by those caution laps. So we've gone green from about lap 16. So we're now at about 18 laps into the fuel run. So about 30 laps, I think, is what the guys are going to be able to get out of their fuel at green conditions. Probably a little bit less than that. So everyone's going to have a slash and dash to do on that math. So keep your eyes on the guys. Paul Bryan, he's good, and he's good by less than a second at the moment. Glenn McLeod has got in behind him. He's got very, very fresh tyres on. He pit at lap 16. He's right there with Paul Bryan. So Bryan's going to have some defending to do. Well, that's McLeod that you see there in the 84 machine, the 20 machine that's just sliced and diced through and past him. That's a lap down track. That's a guy that's on fresher tyres. That is part and parcel of NASCAR. There's no blue flags in NASCAR. It's not about the lap cars have to get out of the way of the leaders. Nuh-uh. Lap cars, by and large, are going to be on a different strategy. So they've got to race the leaders. They've got to come out here and get their laps back, and that's what you saw right there was the fresher tyres. Slow car down on the low side, not quite sure who that was. Dropping like a rock. Slow car in turn number 1 on the high side as well as Callan Hodgkinson. He's struggling a little bit at the moment. Darren Fahey, I think it was, he's going to make his way on the pit lane at the moment. So McLeod, going to have to keep an eye on his lap times. At this point in time, he just crossed the start-finish line, 0.2 of a second faster. That was with a clear track. So he's now trying to hunt down Paul Bryan. These guys are both managing traffic. There's nothing they can do. P6 on the road. That's him right there. Gone to the inside of Glenn McLeod. It's Daniel Harris. He is fighting for his lap back. He wants to be on the lead lap. Being on the lead lap means you can pit if a caution should fly. So it's now about run as hard as you can. Bryan to pit road. So Paul Bryan's come to pit road. Very slow entry from Paul Bryan, but he's now said that's it. Can't get another lap out of this. The tank is dry. 35 laps at the end. Paul Bryan cannot make it. There'll be a splash and dash, at the end of this thing, Nathan. And that is going to create some of the most exciting racing yet.
I'm hoping to see, mate, and I tell you what, it's already been exciting. I'm super...
Well, another thing to think of, right? A full tank costs you about 8 seconds. Full set of tyres costs you 14 seconds. Now, you can make that 14 seconds up on tyre life if you split this in two. So what's that, 17 laps or so? So you run this next stint for Paul. He's going to run 17 laps, come down, get a fresh set of tyres, and that last splash of fuel to get him home. So you can do that. Or you can save a little bit of time and just come down for a splash of tyres, but you are dead in the water. If there's a caution that falls, you've got to come for tyres. But you'll have fresh tyres where the other guys might not come. It's all about strategy. Mind gaming those guys that are out there on the track with you.
Pack has definitely started to stretch out a little bit now. Battle packs has sort of moved apart as everybody was diving into the pits at different times.
Race leader now to pit lane. Glenn McLeod's down there, which means the number 20 car has moved up to P2. He was a whole lap down. Now he's going to come back out in the lead, and that's going to be Hayden Norris. Daniel Harris will be with him. Harris is right on his bumper, so those guys were battling each other in a couple laps' time. Hayden Norris came on lap 29, so he's 2 laps of older tyres over Daniel. So Daniel should be able to close him down, should theoretically. Whether or not that actually happens is a different story. I believe that might be Glenn McLeod that's just coming back onto the racing surface. Braden Martin, what a performance from the Locked On Lads truck. He was one of the guys that came down under those last cautions. He got fresher tyres, so he's going to be one of the fastest cars on track at this point in time. You know, the benefit here, Nathan, is that we have 13th place backwards in a 30-car field is all off the lead lap. And that's okay. That's NASCAR racing. Those guys will surge back onto the lead lap, Paul Bryan starting to make a little bit of headway on some fresh rubber. And I tell you what, Glenn McLeod actually came out of the pits ahead of him. So Paul Bryan took a very conservative run on the entry to pit lane, and he's paid the price for it. Glenn, you can see Glenn's just down in front of him there, so he's chasing. That's for position right there. But Glenn has got 2 laps worth of fresher rubber on him. He made a very, very clean pit lane entry, It was a late pit lane entry, but that's what you're going to do. You've got to make time there. Paul was very conservative on the pit lane entry, but he stuck it. He made it work. Another car just re-entering the racing surface back in the background. Fresh tyres for him. Huge battle pack forming as Daniel Harris tries to stick his nose down to the inside here. Hayden won't necessarily want to see that. And I think that's 7 Horsefall in the number 5 entry. Sorry, it's Darren Fahey in the number 5 entry that's there with him. So Fahey is actually after his lap back. He's got fresh tyres here. So he will want to get on with the job. And he will want to see these guys racing each other so that one of them surges ahead and he just follows that car through. Track lights will start to come on now as the sun starts to go down, so you'll see track conditions start to get a little bit cooler. It actually makes the cars tighter, actually induces more understeer, because the rear is not as free to sort of rotate around behind you. So the way that the drivers will actually drive the cars will start to change a little bit here as well, Nathan. Glenn McLeod up to the inside of the 96 entry, and that'll be 4 position as Jacob Hughes. Strong run here so far tonight from both the 84 and the 96. They're both doing great jobs. Stayed clean, stayed clear. Reminder, Jacob Hughes is from Riot Sim Racing, Glenn McLeod from Send It Sim Sports. Great job by both of those drivers. George Minus, what a performance from him. Normally see him out there having a blast down there fighting with the Sinkoviches. Well, he's beating them tonight, leading to the fact that he showed up for the race. Can't score points Sinkoviches if you don't show up for the race, so I'll let them know about that midweek.
Did they sign up for the trucks? I thought they were
they didn't.
Yeah, I think the Porsches are sort of there. They're big go-to. They love the Porsches, those boys.
But I'm really impressed with old Georgie. He does a cracking job, you know.
He does, across the field. We watched him last season. Across the field in a couple of different series. Absolutely do a solid job from the start of the season to the finish.
Just taking a quick look through the field. Fastest lap for Hayden Norris was a 30.639, but that was all the way back on lap 2. Since then, he's been in tyre conservation mode. On this set of tyres, his fastest lap was a 30.858, his first lap out after the pit stop. He did an 8.63 the very next lap. He's just passing Riley Jones to his inside at this point in time. Jones is actually going to come to the pits. Then you've got up in behind you. Up in behind these guys. So you've got the 22 machine and Daniel Harris is right there beside him. Going to take a quick look at his lap times. And he's fast as a 6.66, which was on this run. And it was actually a couple laps into this run. So he got checked up quite aggressively, I'd say. He got sort of caught out in traffic when he came out of the pits. And have a look at the 5 machine hanging around in the background as well of Fahey. I mean, he hasn't dropped off of these guys. He hasn't had an opportunity to fight his way past them. And now to the inside, Harris has got a run. And that is just letting the lead go from Hayden Norris. So he will be struggling in terms of tyres. But Daniel Harris is going to get back up in front of him, runs it all the way out to the wall, clears him. Now it's going to be through the draft and trying to get there as Hayden Norris goes to his outside. He's got the momentum. Got to respect it to Daniel Harris. You can't just come up the track there at all. Once there is a piece of the car to the outside, you've got to hold your line. You cannot come up at all. And Hayden Norris grabs a smidge of that outside wall. What I'd be doing now is if I'm in Hayden Norris's shoes, come in, take that fast repair, get a fresh set of boots on. You've already got that damage. There's nothing you can do about that. And that just continues to wear the tyres. You're slower in a straight line. Everything starts to go wrong from there. Come down, grab a fast repair, grab a fresh set of boots. See if you can clear these guys in terms of track position and try and hang on to the late stages of the race. That's how simple. Race leaders making mistakes in the barrier. Braden Martin from the Locked On iRacing team starting to have a really good race. That's Paul Bryan ahead of him, you know, and he's actually going to have a go at him here in a second. This is for position. So these guys will be bluing back and forth. See if he can get it done down the low side here. He's got low on the track. He's actually done really, really well there as Braden Martin to hook it around the inside. He's still there. Brian's going to have to think about this. Do I run all the way up the outside? Sorry, it's not Paul Bryan. Paul Bryan's ahead of him. That's actually Nathan Allen on his outside. So this one's actually not for position. This is a lapped car. That's Paul Bryan directly ahead of him, though. So Paul Bryan's the car that'll be trying to chase down. I think Daniel Harris has just said he's going to come to pit lane, or Daniel Harris is trapped in traffic. Yellow flag is out. We've had an incident on the track somewhere, and this will be the window that a few drivers would have been looking for, namely Daniel Harris, because now he gets to come in, grab a fresh set of tyres, and they will make it to the end from this pit stop. So, time for you guys who are not affiliated with ovals to learn something about the wave around procedure. What will happen under this caution? The first time we go past pit lane with the field formed up, the leader and everyone on the lead lap will be able to pit. So that's all the way down to P number 9. Anyone P9 and backwards won't be able to pit. They can pit the second time by. What they are able to do then is stay out. They'll get waved by the pace car and they will get a lap back. So Darren Fahey will get a little bit of a different rule. He's that 5 car attached to the leader. He'll have on his screen within the iRacing client right now pop up Lucky Dog candidate. Lucky Dog, that's a unique rule to NASCAR. What's the Lucky Dog? Well, the Lucky Dog gets a lap back anytime that the caution comes out. The first car that is 1 or more laps down gets the Lucky Dog. The second time by here, he'll be released to pass the field. He'll get his lap back. Then he can trundle on down to the pits. He'll rejoin at the tail end of the lead pack, but he'll get to pit. He gets his lap back. He gets a fresh set of boots. So, time for some strategy plays. Glenn McLeod, does he come in or does he trap the rest of the lead pack a lap down?
Oh, he's... Tell you what, the ruling in NASCAR is completely different to what I ever could have thought or imagined. You would think that it'd be relatively simple. It's turning out that it's not. And I'm glad I've had this opportunity to sit alongside you today, Scotty, and learn about it. As well as bring all these beautiful camera angles and the action to our viewers out there. We'll give a huge shout out to our sponsors this season, DSL Welding Services, who were with us all through last season as well. So thank you so much for being on board again for season 2. The Promo Department and Dragonrc. Also, a huge shout out to all you guys who have joined us tonight. What a fantastic beginning to our season 2. So Daniel Harris is our race leader at this point. Paul Bryan in 2nd. Braden Martin up into 3rd. Jacob Hughes in 4th. Evan Horswell in 5th. John Nicoleff in 6th. Up 22 positions. Both Evan and John both up 20 plus positions. What an absolute race they have had. Jeremy Bush in 7th. Up 12 positions. Everybody just filing in behind the pace car, finding their positions where they need to be. one truck that has caught my eye tonight with an
My
amazing
sincerest
livery.
apologies. Some more in-race dramas that I've sort of had to deal with. Quite a few cars there, past cars on the way into pit lane. That's a big no-no. So you have to, at all times, maintain your position in line under a yellow flag. So the same as when a yellow flag is waved in racing in real life, you cannot overtake until you're out of that yellow flag. The same ruling applies here in NASCAR. However, what that means for a lot of people is that they are passing on their way into pit lane. Can I get drivers up into their lines, please?
Hang on, we're not going green. Not going green.
We are not going green. We are not going green. Safety car will pass through pit lane and will retake control of the field. Cars were not formed up at the rear of the field, attempting to give everyone the opportunity to get back green here. Okay, sorry about that. That's me broadcasting over the in-race radio as well. So I was having a look through the field then. What I've done there is I've extended the yellow by another lap. Why we've done that is because everyone down the field wasn't sort of formed up into the right spots. There were still cars trying to find out where they were supposed to be on the track. You've got 30 cars here. It's quite difficult sometimes, especially for the cars at the back end of the field. What happens is that one car will get told, you need to pass this car. When he gets past that car, he gets then told, I need to pass another car, and so on and so forth until they find their slots. So that's just figuring that out.
Yeah, I was just having a look at that through the back of the pack to see what was happening, and you could see that a lot of the cars weren't too sure, and they weren't all getting in their lines ready to go green.
Hang on, we're not going green. Not going green.
Do hope everybody out there this evening is enjoying our broadcast of our NASCAR oval trucks. This will be happening every Monday night for the next 10 weeks.
So again, we've extended the caution by another lap there. So there's a few of the drivers will be sitting there going, oh, why are you doing that for? Safety. Safety's the biggest reason here. These guys still not quite formed up into their positions. Now, if we're to let them go, there's cars scattering all over the place at the tail end of the field. We're just going to end up with a big wreck like we had earlier on. We're trying to prevent that when and where possible. And we're green, green, green once again. And there's going to be 14 laps left to run here tonight. And it's Daniel Harris that leads the field back to green. I just heard him say over the radio, Nathan, he's short on fuel. He hasn't put enough fuel in that car. He is in trouble.
Dano, what have you done? We'll make sure we highlight that one for him.
He's going to jump in the comm box later on and he's going to say, yeah, I'm going to sack my crew chief. Well, you got no crew chief, mate. It's all on you. Having a look a little bit further back in the pack as well, that's Glenn. He has just gotten a fresh set of boots on. He's going to look to try and chase down the 96 machine there. He's a fair way back, though, so he'll have some work ahead of him. There's only 14 laps left here now, so tyre conservation isn't as important as it was earlier in the race. Now it's all about head-to-head racing. And have a look at Evan Horswell, all the way up in P4. Braden Martin in one of his first ever oval races, right up at the pointy end of this thing. Daniel Harris, he's out of fuel. He is going to be limping this thing home. Paul Bryan says, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to follow you the whole way home. I've got no point in being up there and being at the pointy end of the field. He is also an oval rookie. So it's the rookies tonight that have kept their clean pair of heels, and they're showing themselves at the front end of the pack. I tell you what, Nathan, when we get to Eldora later on the season, car on the fence, it's Horswell. He's in trouble. Yellow flags in the air. Huge stack up at the tail end of the field. Caution is thrown. Field will neutralize itself. Cars scattering everywhere.
You said Horswell. That was Hodginskin. I was like, what? I was like, what did I just miss?
The 10 car slapped the barrier on our camera, but Hodgkinson was the one that was severely impacted.
Let's have a quick look at that while we get this back out. Oh. Was he touched then, or did he just get a little loose? Oh, that's a bad crash. Another quick look at that. We're going to go back a little bit further. See what's going on here. Oh.
Yeah, so a little bit of a misunderstanding there from the number 5. I think about where he was supposed to be on the track, and I think Callan expected him to be a little bit lower there, and he just wasn't expecting it, and Callan was cut off at the worst end of it. You know, the ruling is here that it's race on. These guys in this sort of a position would have to earn their lap back. If they've got fresher tyres than the leaders, that's a good thing. That means they've got good rubber underneath them. They've got a chance to try and go out there and fight for their lap. But at the same time, they've still got a race. The lead car doesn't have to let them go. But at the same time, they don't have to let the lead car go. So you've still got to be a courteous driver. You've still got a race to the same standards that I would expect from you week in and week out. So there's a lot to learn here tonight. And again, it's a lot of this is teething issues. It's getting new to the format. This is a new format. This is something these guys haven't done before. And a lot of you that haven't driven these cars, you jump in them and say, oh, it's just turning left. How hard can it be? It's the rules. It's the rules. That's where the kicker is. NASCAR runs such an odd set of rules. You're running at a faster speed than you normally would in most other cars. And these cars, they don't handle. We're going to COTA next week. You're going to see how difficult these cars are to drive at COTA next week because they are an absolute handful. They run so much slower than a lot of other cars, but they're faster in a straight line. They can't turn. They're all about setting, loading up the tyre consistently and loading that tyre for a long period of time. They've got long sweeping corners. So when you see a big wreck, when you see cars trying to check up for the pace car and those sorts of things, it takes them a lot longer than you would for any other car. And that's not what they're designed to do. They're designed for pack racing, close racing, and it's a different skill set that it's a lot of these guys are getting that experience firsthand because there is no other way to get it. These guys have been practicing for weeks. Paul Bryan, Nathan Allen, 2 guys that have probably done, I would say, 10, 15 practice sessions over the last couple of weeks. Have a look at the difference in nights they're having. Paul Bryan sitting here in P2. Nathan Allen is all the way down in P16, and he's off the lead lap. So, multiple different tales that are going on here. I said Lachlan Capel, very, very strong driver. He's made a mistake on pit lane entry. He's trapped a lap down. There's nothing he can do. He's just in a really, really bad situation. Fastest car in qualifying here tonight. Nothing he can do. His teammate, Grant Matterford, also trapped a lap down. John McHenry, 4 laps down. He's a clean driver, John. He makes mistakes. No more than any other driver, I don't think. But he's just, that's just how it is. Brad Clink, if you'd have said to me before the start of the night here, Brad Clink would be 4 laps down, I would have said you're laughing.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have expected Brad to be 4 laps down with what we saw in practice and qualifying. He looked like definitely one to watch for the first race But as you said, it looks like we've got some of the newbies holding strong in the top 10, which is so great to see.
Oh, isn't it? And have a look at Braden Martin. This guy's... I was talking to him the other night about how much fun he was having at Twinning and Motegi in the Ark and Menards cars. They're a different style of racing again. They're a what you call an asymmetrical car. Now the trucks are asymmetrical, but they're a lot more symmetrical than the Ark and Menard. The Ark and Menard's roll cage is basically off-centered to load the right-hand side of cars. They call them the tube frame, the twisted frame, because they're really kinked. So, last time here, we've got 9 laps left to run, and something else you've got to think about here is we've got a green-white checkers procedure, which we'll cover when we get there, but these guys are forming up now for another restart. This is going to be a banger of another restart.
Got everybody grouped up again, which is what we like to see. Only one big incident tonight, which is good for racing.
Holding. Daniel's now gone. Now he gets back to the guards. The car in behind him gets a horrible start. Somebody in the mid-pack has gotten a huge checkup. Somebody's missed a gear and just about blown an engine. Cars scattering everywhere. They've nearly gotten through, and at the back of the pack, someone's finally gone around. Oh, that's disappointing. There's nothing they could have done there, because somebody at the front end just missed a gear, but Danny Harris has gotten away. Once again, nice clean start from him. Brian now settles into that P2 slot. We'll see if he can get himself away, see if he can start assaulting Daniel Harris. Has Harris burned off his tyres here? All of a sudden, Brian's going to have a go. He's nearly to his bumper. Harris was looking to his inside, goes to the outside, trying to build a momentum run around the top side now. Has to settle back a little bit. Now he'll start to get the draft through the middle of the corner and off. Daniel Harris ran really well all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. So Paul Bryan now a lot further back than he would have liked to be. He was looking to make a move here. Didn't quite get it done. Braden Martin in the background of these shots as well. He's gotten away. A nice clean pair of heels. And it's Jacob Hughes that's trying to run him down. And Glenn McLeod sends it to the inside of Hughes. Gets level with him. Nice and even as they cross the start-finish line. And I believe we've got 6 laps left to run here. Glenn McLeod clears him, now up to P4, and McLeod is on a charge. The 605 of Matthew Skulls got an end-of-line penalty a couple of cautions ago for passing under yellow on the way into pit lane. He's fought his way all the way back up to 7th place. Now he's going to try and stick the nose on the 45 machine there of Jeremy Bush, see if he can get that one. Bush, popular name within the NASCAR Cup Series. You've got Kyle and Kurt Busch that race in the NASCAR Cup Series. Oh, Bush cuts across him, tries to get towards the top side of the track, cuts off the momentum of Skulls. Now Skulls will try and slot it back in underneath the rear bumper here. He's going to try and set up the run down the back straightaway. Car immediately behind him, as well as the 20 now of Hayden Norris. And Norris is starting to look racy. Skulls gets to the high side early in the corner, tries to do an over-under, more of a late apex line. And more of a road course lines to hold momentum to come down the start-finish straight, trying to get there. Skulls has got a draft, trying to get to his outside. He's got momentum. Is he going to send it all the way around? He does this time. Gets out of line, gets all the way up there, loses a little bit of momentum on the entry. But now he will have the power down. Have a look up in front. There's going to be a battle for the lead. And it's going to be Danny Harris that's defending it. He blocked the inside line. He did not want Paul Bryan to get his nose underneath him. Now Bryan's backed up a little bit. I think Daniel Harris didn't quite get the run he was looking for off the corner. Braden Martin starting to sneak up on things too. He's not out of this one yet. This is the Locked On Lads entry. And Glenn McLeod was about 1.5 seconds back off of these guys. Now just out the rear view mirror of the 09. He's going to have a go here, probably at the end of this lap. He's starting to build that run. He might dive to the inside here on the entry to turn number 3. Closes it down, really good under brakes, sends it to the high side. Bryan now still trying to hold station. Nothing much he can really do at this point in time. And Martin gets the crisscross move done on him, trying to shove the nose underneath him. Doesn't quite get it there. Paul McLeod still looking for something on Braden Martin. Martin got a run there on Paul Bryan as well. He's starting to close up on him. Look at the momentum. And I tell you what, Glenn McLeod's got there on the high side. He got the foot in the thing the whole way around the top lane, and now Braden Martin's got to hold him off on the bottom. Martin's got the worst tyres. The high line is where you want to defend from. Martin gets underneath him, gets the nose ahead. Now they're even. Coming off the corner, Glenn McLeod is going to take third spot away. White flag in the air, 1 lap left to run, so now you would have to say it's Daniel Harris's to lose. He'd have to make a huge mistake at this point in time. He said he underfueled the car. Is he going to cough, splutter, and die over the start-finish line? He might. Paul Bryan weaves out of the traffic. Braden Martin, he wants a podium finish. He's not done here. Martin with the send on the entry to turn number 3. Gets there. McLeod is a long way up the track. McLeod's got the run coming off of turn number 3. Is McLeod going to get it? It's going to be off. A photo finish at the line, but I tell you what, I think Glenn McLeod got it. Well done, Glenn McLeod. Paul Bryan finishes P2. There was absolutely nothing in it. Do you want to know the margin in P3 and P4 here, Nathan? The margin was 0.39 of a second. 0.039. Sorry, not 0.39. That's 0.3 of a second. No.
Yeah, 300s.
Basically 400ths of a second. There was nothing in that. 11 cars to finish on the lead lap. What a race there for the last 10 laps to green all the way to the line. First, Daniel Harris. Second, Paul Bryan by 0.2 of a second. 0.5 of a second back to Glenn McLeod and Braden Martin there side by side. 1.5 back to Jacob Hughes and Matthew Skulls. They put on a show there at the end of the race for P5 and P6. So Hughes will take away a top 5 for the first race of the season. Jeremy Bush will get P7. Hayden Norris looks strong there in the early showing. He's going to take away a P8. Daniel Weaver finishes P9. Last car on the lead lap, Darren Fahey. Then we jump back to our cars off the lead lap. Evan Horswell, P11. He will be probably a little bit disappointed with that. He slapped the wall, had to come down pit road and get a fast repair, fell off the lead lap. Lachlan Capel, there's 40 seconds worth of penalty that separates Capel and P1 there. And he will be kicking himself.
Just going to line up get our podium finishes into the comms box for a bit of a chat.
I don't want to hear Dano.
Well,
do we have to chat to Dano? Can we just leave him off?
He's already in the green room. he's already in there. So we can't ignore Dano. What an absolute solid race. Solid race by everyone tonight. What a race. What a finish. Mate, that was fantastic.
What a stunner. And you know what? That's the first race of the season. And the critical thing is, it's a 10 race season, right? We've got a dirt race to go. We've got a short track in here. We've got a super speedway. And you have a look up and down the field. Look at the number 1 there, Adam Hughes. I thought for sure this guy's going to finish further up in the pack. Brad Clank, Lachlan Capel, John McHenry. I thought John McHenry was better than 4 laps down for my mind. Probably caught up in something out of his control. Cullen Hodgkinson, Jake Edwards didn't finish the race. Adam Hughes didn't finish the race. That's 2 crisscross cars that didn't finish. But I tell you what, time to grab Glenn McLeod because he's sitting in a green room. Glenn, Scott and Nathan here in the booth. What an absolute cracker to finish the first race of the season, my friend.
That was awesome. That was so much fun. I haven't had a race like that where I've just enjoyed it so much in quite a while, but that was a lot of fun.
Look, let's talk about it. Look, I'm the series admin, so I want to have a chat to you. It's tricky, right? It's the first race of the season. Oval is a completely and utterly different kettle of fish. The rules are different. The cars are different. It doesn't drive the same way, and you're driving close. You guys were what, 300ths of a second apart at the finish line?
Yeah, well, with 2 or 3 to go, it was very close. I knew that the field was cleansed, if you like, but I just thought I got to try something different. There was a move I did on somebody else where I did a bit of a cut down coming out of 3 and 4, and that worked really well, but just stuck to the outside and just made it stick. And that was awesome, those last couple of laps. Mate,
talk to us about lap traffic throughout the field. We had, 2 green flag stops there or there were 2 separate cycles, I think, of green flag stops. So you had to complete one, and the other cycle of guys that didn't do theirs earlier on had to do theirs as well. It's tricky. You've got guys on different tire condition that are laps down coming back through the field. That you've got to manage that. That's not easy.
No, that's right. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a tangle between the front cars early on, and then unfortunately that second restart, I didn't even make it through to the start finish line, and unfortunately wrecked the car again. So luckily we had those 2 fast repairs.
So that was it.
Yeah,
that was mulligans.
Yeah, so I was out of sequence, if you like, and then just coming back through traffic, I knew I had the tyres, and just trying to predict where everybody was going to go. Everybody seems to be running low, I think, from memory, but yeah, just trying to predict everybody and where they're going to go, what lines they're going to run. I think helped with that.
So, mate, first round of the season, first podium of the season, big tick in the book. You coming back again next week for Coda?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to suck at Coda. I can tell you that right now, but I'll be back. That's for sure.
Well, mate, good news. Everyone in the field is going to suck. Not many people in this field have done laps in a car. Talk to us about how differently it drives. It doesn't have brakes. It's got a H pattern with only 4 gears in it. That's completely foreign.
That's right, and I'm used to driving on dirt, so I'm used to only having 1 gear and no brakes anyway. So you could say that this is a little bit more grippy stuff for me. But yeah, it's a completely different ball game. It's something fresh. Yeah, it's a completely different, and we'll see that next week at Coda for sure, with like the amount of power that these things have, with the and the amount of wheel spin people will get. Yeah, it's next week's definitely going to be really tricky.
So when I say the term wheel hop to you, does that at least make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So you're at least aware of that. Well, good luck, mate. Thank you very much for joining us here. This is your opportunity to say all the thank yous to the people who support you.
Yeah, so everyone at Send It Sin Sports, such a good bunch of blokes. I know we've got a couple of new signings, but everybody there is just so friendly, so supportive of everyone else. Sponsors, I'd like to thank Hobbs Trenching and Boring, PPS Setup Shop, Proserve Finance, Sydney Computers, AJ Insurance, Transform Media, and Pixelbox and CD Cinematography and 27 Designs for all their hard work on photos and our car designs.
I tell you what, doesn't the car look pretty on camera as well?
Oh, it looks nice, doesn't it?
Oh, it's gorgeous. So, all right, mate. Well, for the first time, I think in a good while, you're going to have to add some right-hand turns in next week. So you better go start practicing how to turn the wheel the other way.
No worries, will do. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Glenn. Pleasure to have you on board. So important to note there, Nathan, he's a dirt oval driver. So that's going to be critical. 1 dirt oval round coming later in the season from the Eldora circuit. The trucks do go there in real life, which is why it's been included on the campaign. So another one to sort of stick in the back of your mind and watch. And the 576, you see the high side there, Glenn McLeod, that'll be Brad Clank as well. So those guys will be working quite well together. Another dirt oval driver on the podium. Time to speak to our second place finisher. It's going to be Paul Bryan in the number 42 machine.
Speed, as you.
Mr. Paul Bryan, it sounds like you're having a great conversation with the guys up there in the green room.
We were, mate. That was a good fun race.
Oh, wasn't it? Sorry to interrupt the conversation, but you look like you had fun. I thought for sure you were going to send it there at one point, that last 10 laps.
Oh, I thought about it, mate, but we're obviously both on roughly the same tyres and about the same speed, so it was, yeah, it would have been a bit of a desperate. It's pretty hard to pass around there.
Look, tricky series to start things off with. A lot of guys getting caught out by different what they thought the rules were and not necessarily following on-screen discussions. On-screen instructions. They're a tricky thing to handle at the best of time, but you can't really mess up the rules around here, can you?
No. I know, it was good, I thought, the most part, for a field where a lot of the guys are just starting out in NASCAR trucks. I thought it was a good race.
If I'd have said to you at the start of the night here tonight, you'd be walking away with a P2, what would your response be?
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, no, I didn't. That's my first race around Charlotte in a NASCAR truck, or in anything. So yeah, that was quite surprising.
Mate, on to the left-hand rights next week from the home of the American Grand Prix at Coda. I know you're a dirt oval driver. How does the old turning the wheel back to the right work for you?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate. I haven't done much road racing lately, so I don't even own the Coda track actually, so I'll have to go download that the next day or two and start doing some laps, mate, because otherwise if we can get competitive there as well.
Fuel strategy and tyre strategy here tonight was absolutely critical. It looked like, I think the difference between you and having control of the restart was the fact that you didn't push the pit lane entries. I think you were a little bit conservative on pit lane entries, so something to learn for next week, or sorry, for 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I was pretty conservative coming into the pit lane, and I actually overshot my pit bay in 2 of the stops. Had to reverse. Got how bad the brakes are in the NASCAR truck. Used to pulling up in a GD3 car or something.
Stop it on a dime, turn it on a dime, put the throttle to the floor. Well, next week you're going to have a lot of problems with doing all of those things because these things don't like to do it at the best of times, and Coda's not one of the best of times. So, mate, opportunity for you for thank you to your sponsors.
Yeah, Velocity Sim Labs would be the main one, mate. I wouldn't be where I am in the iRacing world without Velocity Sim Labs. And just man up. Prostate cancer, mate. That's it for me. All the boys on the Velocity team for all their help. Yeah. Other than that, just you guys, mate, for putting on the series. Thank you.
All right, mate. Well, I'll let you get back there. A lot of homework to do then for next week, so you better get back to bed nice and early tonight so you can get up and start cranking some laps around Coda early tomorrow.
I better. That's it. Thanks, mate.
Pleasure to see you on the podium, mate. Have a great night.
Thanks, buddy.
And finally, he's a regular in the podium in the commentary booth, but not for his driving talents. It's the man with the mouth. It's Dano. I don't want to conduct this interview, Nathan. Do you want to conduct this one?
Oh, mate, you're the man with the information about NASCAR.
Well, Daniel Harris, I heard a message on the radio that sounded pretty frantic at one point. It sounds like you forgot to add enough fuel.
It wasn't that I forgot. I just miscalculated the laps left in my head. I thought there was 15 when there was actually 25. And so I have no idea how, but the delayed greens, the 2 of them, I got so lucky with them because I was zoned out staring at my black box that was telling me my fuel, just hoping that it would go up enough that I would have enough laps left, and just I had like 0.9 liters on the last lap. It was like 0.5 laps like left on the tank. That was so much luck.
Well, look, mate, the base Pro Shop 22 looked quite good there for a whole number of laps. It was a little bit difficult. It wasn't as easy as you'd like. Green flag pit stops are notoriously tricky at Charlotte, and you had to pull off, what, 2 of those?
I think it was just the 1.
But getting the car warmed up.
I had a pretty good like strategy in mind. Yeah, I had a bit of a strategy in mind on how to do it. Have to take the possibility of doing a green pit stop, and I just managed to get in front of a lap car just on turn.
Dano's microphone giving us.
So
it sounds more like internet connection than microphone, Dano. So we're gonna go ahead.
I think Dano's internet's giving him grief as per usual.
Connected that whole race.
Yeah. So we're getting about a big gap between words there, but Dano, I'm sure you'll get an opportunity to thank your sponsors later on in the week. I don't think Nathan or I expected to see you down here in the Sim Racing World TV victory lane, but here you are. Congratulations, buddy, and go celebrate with the boys, eh?
I think he will do. Well, on that note, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, boys.
Fix your internet, Dano. Well, at least his internet held up through the whole race, so that was great to see. As long as it's only dropping out when he needs to do an interview.
You know what? I think his internet held on as long as his fuel tank did.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. What an awesome race tonight for Season 1 of our NASCAR Oval Trucks. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our sponsors again tonight, DSL Welding Service, again with us for a second season. So thank you so much to them. the promo department for all your promo needs. And of course, Dragonrc. So thank you so much for getting on board with us this season again. It has been an absolute blast bringing you the first race of the NASCAR Oval Trucks. And on behalf of management and broadcast team here at SRW TV, we had Scotty and Nathan Shibby Howard on comms. And we are signing off, saying good night. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Sim Racing World TV.